I don't know about you, but personally, I love to be part of a win-win situation. I've learned that if you're serious about walking in faith and have the desire to obey, you'll find yourself overwhelmed by what God will do. I've been asked to share with you about how the Lord worked as the ideas and plans for our hospital visitation team took shape. As the interim period without a senior pastor seemed to be dragging on, and as several staff members moved away, a thought came to me one morning while I was praying. A simple way to lift the burden of hospital visits from the shoulders of our staff was for church members to assist. I mentioned the idea to Josh and Rhonda, who both confirmed that the staff had been thinking along the same lines. We agreed that we would begin by sharing the idea with the deacons and go from there. I created a sign-up sheet for Bob to take to the next deacons meeting, where we hoped, fingers crossed, there would be many others who would eagerly volunteer. When Bob came home, he told me with a very sad face that I would be disappointed with the response. Then he handed me the sign-up sheet, which was filled front and back. This great response meant we had enough folks on the team so that each person or couple would make hospital visits only once a month. So you see, not only has this been a win-win effort, I would change that to a win-win-win-win. A win for our pastoral staff members who have more time to focus on their ministry areas. A win for the person in the hospital who receives daily visits from the team. A win and comfort for that person's family, and a big win for each member of the visiting team. We've met folks we've never known before. We've shared experiences and stories. We've prayed and enjoyed Christian fellowship with brothers and sisters. We followed Paul's instruction in 1 Thessalonians 5:7. Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. If you're interested in joining the team, even as a substitute, there's a place for you. You will be the biggest winner.
Hi, I'm Linda Smith, and wanted to tell you a little bit about my experience with our hospital ministry team. One of the neatest things from the very beginning was being paired with Patsy Evans as a partner. Patsy and I don't have a lot of occasion to cross paths at church, and so one of the serendipities of being involved with this was getting to know Patsy and spending time with her. The visits we made, one of the benefits was that Patsy knew people I didn't know, and I knew people that Patsy didn't know, so that really helped facilitate connecting with the people that we visited. And the people were so welcoming. One of the neatest things was sometimes when we prayed with people, we had them turn around and pray for us, and that was a real blessing to have that kind of experience. And it was obvious that the visits meant a lot to them. But my perspective on the visitation team changed greatly when I became a patient. I had knee replacement surgery and spent 3 weeks between the hospital and rehab, and the highlight of my day came to be when somebody came to visit. I spent time trying to figure out who was going to be visiting, looking forward to that. I got to meet people I didn't know. I got to get to know people better that I did know, had visits from friends, even had a visit from my hospital visitation partner. And so to be a beneficiary gave me a whole new perspective to understand how important these visits were to people, how meaningful they were, what they meant. And so it makes it even more important for me to make it a priority for my hospital visits. And I encourage anybody that's not involved to do so. Thank you.
Back in October, I went to Tallahassee Memorial Hospital to visit Ern Jones. I arrived at the room and a nurse was attending him at the time, and she invited me in. Ern was weak that day, but he was joyful in spirit, and he greeted me and asked about my wife and children. we visited for a while, and finally the nurse left. And then he opened his eyes and said, "Cecil, I want to cross the river." And so he was quiet for a while, and then he began to sing the words from an old hymn. And he sang each of these words with a spirit of joyful anticipation. "Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God." And so I continued to visit with him. And it just seemed to me that it was possible he was preparing to go to be with the Lord. So I said, "Ern, I'm going to sit down with you and just sit right here by your bedside for a while." And so he was quiet for a while, and then he said, "Cecil, will you help me cross the river?" And I said, "Ern, I sure will. I'm praying for you, and I know the Lord is with you." And so I sat there for about another hour or so, and then I had to leave. And I got up and I told Ern that I needed to go and meet my wife across town. But I was praying for him, and I would continue to pray for him. The next day was a Sunday. That was the day Ern went to be with the Lord and crossed the river. What a privilege it was to visit with Ern that Saturday morning. What a privilege it was to see him express such a deep, confident faith in the Lord as he journeyed towards home.